Life. Have a good life. What's going on, everybody? Welcome, welcome. Come on in, baby. Come on in. Actually, what am I doing here? 25,000 of these things open, huh? Alright. Today, some quite of a daunting task to do. I'm not gonna lie here. What's up, Lazar? What's up, my man? Welcome, welcome. I need to basically bump up the fonts probably in both editors here because I'm having two projects open. One is the framework repository, the other one is basically a plugin because I'm having this plugin system and now I'm working on this authentication plugin, which is a full authentication plugin like you know in Laravel Blade, where you have the profile and the login and the sign up and the email configuration. So the thing is that I'm shipping the framework with something that is called the authentication. Let me show you how it actually works. So it's basically this thing, like the authentication config, and you give it an out func and a redirect URL. And basically what this needs to do is it needs to set some stuff. It's basically, I configured it this way so people can actually build plugins, right? Without to do a lot of shenanigans. That like it's a uniform way of doing things. That's basically what I'm trying to do. Right now I'm implementing this authentication plugin myself. And yeah, it's a little bit rough on the edges, baby. Well, rough on the edges. I'm also very busy with Revenue as well. It's actually are we live on Twitch? I have no fucking clue. What the hell is that, man? All these curls. Oi, 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 oi. We're live, that's good. How many people are here? One. Hey! GG. Actually, to be honest, I forgot one major, crucial thing, actually. One crucial thing, and they not. Let's fucking go. Yeah, chips with all these pages and everything. It's gonna be quite nice. Actually, to be honest, let's get into it. So, the first thing I have a problem with is I changed this function, and right now we see that cannot use the func-kit as HTTP response right request. I understand that. It's 100% correct. The thing is that I have this Go mod file where I rerouted this, so I can develop the plugin without the need of having the framework updated on the master. That's basically the thing I'm trying to do. And for some reason, it basically doesn't fucking work. I think. Or maybe it's VS Code that's basically in problem. You have this basically the theme switcher and everything. It's chat CN shenanigans. It's gonna be amazing. One single binary to change the world, because we're going to go back to the most simple thing ever. Is basically compile your app to one binary. Right? There is no framework that can do that at this point of time. Is it? I think it could be VS Code bugging, because I changed these Go mod files and it basically is like, oh, it doesn't know what the fuck is going on. So let me close this. Let's go to my plugin folder here, code it up, back open the special out thingy. Let's zoom in for the blind homies. Okay, this is actually better, right? So the idea is that this plugin exports its routes, right? So yeah. Redirect URL. Let's go to login here. And then you can see we are doing a lot of bullshit here. right? So now if we install the plugin, we can go basically to login, right? We can't. Oh yeah, I'm checking things basically. Oh yeah, it's not even up. Make dev. Yeah, baby. Login. Okay, cool. Now we are here. GG, well played, baby. Yo, why did you choose Golang in the first place? I don't know. So many years ago, guy. So many years ago, I chose Golang. Why? Because I basically wrote every single language on the fucking planet. I did some stuff with Ruby on Rails, did some stuff with Django, PHP back in the day, and for some reason, Golang is so verbose. It's so simple that it's, I don't know what it is. Something with this language. It's so simple that it's actually good. Try to explain that to somebody. Jeroen, what is GOTHKIT? It's basically a framework. It's basically Laravel with Livewire, but in Golang. And what I mean, the whole shebang, database, authentication, the whole shebang. And I'm building this plugin right now here. Yeah, look at that. All my emails. Go and send me. Go and send me one. So let me do this, and if I log in, invalid credentials, that's completely true. Okay, so basically that works, right? So the thing is, I'm gonna extract this whole function away very soon. Okay, so it's this thing. This is the place to be. This handle thingy. Wait, we could actually go to the profile page, which should be protected. That I'm gonna design this as well. Okay, that's cool. You see, it's basically keeps spinning around in circles. All right, that's crazy. This is a stack trace, Stack Overflow, baby. This is Stack Overflow. Sometimes this happens. Why is this a problem, right? We don't fucking know. Holy crap. Still a bit rough on the edges, huh? Authenticate user. So the idea is that... let me show you here with the framework thingy. The idea is that yeah, what is the idea, huh? Yeah, so the idea is that you give the authentication config the out func, which will return an out, and the only thing, an out is an interface. And this thing only implements check, right? So if you create a plugin, the only thing you need to do is you need to give it this function, return this interface, and check will basically determines if you are logged in or not. And to actually get the thing, we put some stuff in the context as well, which we can use in the views and all that stuff. You're gonna see it's actually pretty cool, but I cannot yet make a video on YouTube about it because it's still not documented yet. It's still not completely done. And in order to make this work is basically, or it's going to be so good that people, or it's going to be bad and then nobody cares. You know what I mean? It's just, it's binary. That's the problem. It's binary. So that's why we keep it a little bit down the low. Ho, ho, ho. So the problem could be actually here in... we're not doing this. We're not making this middleware. We're not doing that. Delete. You can see, and then basically the idea is that this plugin is going to be basically copied, installed into your application, just a little bit like Django does with the apps, right? So somebody can design a plugin in a GOTHKIT project, and then basically put it on GitHub, and then by installing it, we will get this thing and copy it into the plugins folder, and then you just configure that. You go to your app routes, right? And then you just configure this out configuration with the correct function here and call it a day. That's how it's gonna work. In my mind. If that's going to be in practical, I don't know. We're gonna see. Arr. Are you on Twitch? Yes, normally I do. I'm everywhere. But also, do you configure WSL for GoDev? Yeah. But it seems my just in run is not enough. Well, 16 GB should be enough, man. Should be enough. 100%. 100%. But I'm gonna change very soon. I'm buying new stuff. I'm gonna probably swap to Linux very soon. But not right now. The problem is I want to swap it. It's the configuration and all my files and all my apps. And, it takes so long. Okay, so we're basically redirecting to login, and probably we're gonna check that again, and then we're gonna keep calling this authentication function. Is that the thing? Is that what's happening? Is that what's happening here? Or maybe initialize routes. Where is this happening? So this is getting called, and this is fine. This is fine. Maybe it's the main that I need to adjust here. Do I actually? Where do I initialize these? Here. Nah, that's the problem, right? So the thing is here that we initialize these routes here, so it's going to be a double call stack. So what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to initialize the out plugin here. Is that a thing? Is that a thing, baby? I don't know. No. Okay, all middleware must be defined before routes on the mix. So you see that. How are we going to solve this problem? Trying to find a GOTHKIT GitHub. There is the thing is, guys, it's open source already. But the problem is that it's not yet completely done, and tomorrow it's probably gonna change, and then the day after tomorrow it's gonna change as well. So I need to, you know what I mean? I need to. When there is, I'm gonna make this week a video on YouTube that will explain how it works, and then everybody can just try it out. It needs to work very well, even though it's a simple beta version. It needs to be very good engineered, or it's going to be bad. And if I can provide people with a login system, authentication system, they're gonna basically ejaculate in their pants like validation. Everything is inside, baby. It's gonna be so good, guys. I can't wait to release it, but I need to get stuff done. Wait, so we can't use this here. Where are you from? From Belgium. From Belgica. What are your thoughts on event sourcing? I don't even know what that is. I'm so sorry. What is event sourcing? Man, am I a fool? Am I a fool? Event sourcing. Event sourcing persists the state of a business entity such as order a customer as a sequence of state-changing events. Yeah, Well, good news is we have an event system here. It's amazing. There's an amazing event system. Look at that. You could do something like this. Event emit foo.create or something like that. And then put something in here, like a structure or whatever. Right? Boom. You can use the event system. No setup required. Just do event.emit. Boom. And then you can have this set of events here. Boom. And you just need to do that. And then you can create your events here, your handlers here. And then basically, I think it's in events here. You can just subscribe. It all just works. It's beautiful. I know. I know. But we need to fix this thing real quick, guys. Come on. I come online to talk, but also to do some work. So what I want is that a plugin can contain its routes on its own. So you don't need to do a lot of stuff yourself. You could just call, hey, plugin, initialize your routes, give it the router, and call it a day. The problem is that oh yeah, un momento. This is the app and this is the router. So maybe we can do this. Oh wait, no. Wait, did we do that? Or this? Is that gonna work? Nobody knows, man. Nobody knows. Probably not. Wait. That's not gonna work. So the problem is that I wanna make this profile page, but this profile page needs to be protected under authentication with a strict flag true. What the strict flag means is that if strict is false, it's going to check for a user. It's going to check if somebody is logged in, so you can use it in your view. But if there is no user, it doesn't really matter. Then it's going to be empty, right? But if you set strict to true, there must be somebody. There must be a user. Otherwise, you're going to get redirected back to where this came from. The McDonald's. Flipping burgers, you know? So this works perfectly fine. If I delete this out config completely, right? And then I go back to routes here. Then I can use this. That's gonna work pretty fine, huh? There is no profile page here. It's still working, man. What is this middlewares? Ah, it's this one. It's this use thingy here. I can see where it's coming from. I can see where it's coming from. The page you are looking for is not existing. Oh, error messages. Everything is pretty fun, huh? You like that? Okay. So what if we want to protect our own profile route inside of a plugin? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Because if that's not going to be the case, we're going to be in big problem. So we're going to give it an out config because that's what we want. We're going to call kit with authentication. Put in the out config, set it to strict true, so we get redirected back to this guy here. But that doesn't really work, unfortunately. Wait, is it just working? What's going on here? Okay, so profile. Profile gives a problem. You see, profile does some weird stuff. Okay, so it could be a problem in... It could be a problem in my code. Should be, right? I mean, okay, this is the with authentication shenanigans here. So we call the out func given in the configuration, right? It's this thingy here. It's this thingy. This is the out function. We're gonna call that. That's gonna return an authentication interface. Then we're gonna say if this route is strict. Yes, it's strict because of this flag boolean. So if you're not authenticated, because it's an interface, if we're not authenticated and the path is not the redirect URL, then we're gonna redirect back to the config redirect URL and return. Otherwise, we serve next. That seems good to me on the first glimpse. What is the main benefit of using Go in your opinion as opposed to other languages? Is it good for backend only? No. Maybe my opinion is a little bit biased, I think. Although I like to write, I love PHP, I love Ruby. Python is a little bit. I don't really like this dependency stuff with Python, like pip install, and it's a little bit meh. I don't know. There are so many good languages. There are so many great languages. But for me, why we 11U, because that's basically how this framework is basically existed, is a little bit the same story like DHH creating Ruby on Rails for Basecamp is what I'm doing here, because we built this stuff at 11U. Why do we do that? Because you can write your programs. So why is Go good? Is because of this. Because in Golang, you can write your... So let's say this is your function. Whoa, 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 whoa. Holy crap, that's a big ass thing. So you're gonna write your func. Func. How do you write a function? Jesus Christ. And in Golang, the only thing you need to do is you need to read it from top to bottom. Right? And everything what's inside of this function, most of the time, is going to be very verbose. So, there is... most of the time, there are no hidden problems, even with errors. You could say Golang error and handling is a bit... yes. From a reading perspective... yes, well, verbose. It looks, if you're coming from JavaScript, Ruby, and all this, and maybe Rust, it looks weird. But it's just the way. If you care about producing good readable and how can I say this? It basically just tells you exactly what you need to do, and you can't skip a thing. You know what I mean? There is no hidden shenanigans going on. A type is simple in Golang. It's not the best typed system in the world, but that's just the good stuff. Because we don't want to program in depends on what you want to do, but you don't want to if you want to be productive, you don't want to program in these very hard typed languages, because they... If you check Rust, for example, sometimes there is a type, and this type is so crazy or complicated that nobody understands what's going on, especially new programmers, or even if you're an experienced programmer like me and you jump into Rust, I'm going to have a hard time figuring out what's going on, because I do not really understand the language. Well, I have some experience in Rust, but it's still going to be harder than having a simple type system in Golang. It's basically a non-typed language with a simple type system on top of that basically writes like C. So that's why we use that at Levenue, because we can have engineers, we can have a small team that can produce very fast things. We can ship very fast because we don't have some kind of an ecosystem that needs to be maintained. It's like we compile to a single binary and we just ship that with a coolify thingy. It's easy. And we try to... JavaScript is nice, we use that, but we do not use the JavaScript ecosystem and build tools, basically, right? Because that's where all the evil comes from. It just reads simple, you know what I mean? It reads. It's ugly, but it reads. The same thing what you need to do with your wife. You don't need to pick a beautiful wife. You need to pick a useful wife, right? That's actually very weird. I take that back. Well, you could pick a beautiful, useful wife. That's what I would do. But you know what I mean, right? I cannot express myself here, but you know what I mean. You need to pick something that actually makes sense, right? Okay, let's go back. How many devs does you hire? We just hired Mansoor from my community. It's pretty funny, huh? It's pretty funny that people are sending resumes and Mansoor didn't send anything. I picked them out. I grabbed him. I always say that you need to do a lot of stuff in your free time for free. And if you keep hustling and you keep doing stuff, no matter what they throw at you, no matter how stupid the task is, even maybe there is no task, but you still provide value for a very long time, sooner or later you're gonna get that back. Sooner or later it's gonna pay off. And that's a little bit of the problem with the young people of today. They don't want to do stuff without being paid. They don't want to invest time for something that maybe does not work out, right? Hey, I can work for 1,000 hours here. I can do some open source work for 500 hours and hopefully I'm getting rich. They're not gonna do that because it's 500 hours and it's just a small chance, so they're gonna do something else. They're gonna play League of Legends or something. But some people basically just don't care and they do stuff in their free time without knowing if it's gonna work out or not, and suddenly it works out. Because it's always gonna work out sooner or later, right? I always say you can try it 99 times and quit, but you're gonna succeed at the 100th time, but you never know that, right? Because you didn't do the 100th time. Maybe you try the 100th time and you still fail because it was the 101st time. You know what I mean? You need to keep going, man. You need to keep going. And the thing is that's very important, right? Because if you need to make a very long journey with ups and downs, a very long journey where you don't know where you're gonna end. You don't know where you're gonna end. Are you gonna end in the deepest deeps? Or are you gonna end up at the highest highs? If you don't know when this is gonna happen, all these struggles for this, we don't know how much time it will take. You need to be very passionate, right? You need to love what you're doing, because otherwise it's not gonna work out. And that's also a very big problem I see with a lot of people in the industry, right? You need to love what you're doing, because otherwise, it's going to be a bumpy ride for everybody, even if you're smart, right? It's actually way better to be stupid, because the less you know, the less your brain thinks. It's just gonna keep going, right? And suddenly, boom. Boom chakalaka. Could be anything. You build a project with somebody and it kicks off. Somebody notices your open source work and he's going and he say, hey, listen, I love your work. Can I buy it? Maybe can I hire you? Or whatever. You know what I mean? You never know. That's why you need to keep going until you die. Can we please code instead of doing this motivation channel, man? What is going on? The wife analogy is crazy. Well, the thing is that My grandmother always said to me, like, I'm gonna say it in my own language. Van een schoon tafel kun je niet eten. Well, actually, basically, if I translate that, it means from a clean table. You can't eat from a clean table. That's what she always said, my grandmother. You can't eat from a clean table. I never understood that. Why can't you eat from a clean table? I mean, but that basically means that... I don't even understand what it means. Don't. I would say, like, from a clean table, you don't eat alone. That makes sense. Right? So if you have a beautiful wife, you're probably not going to eat her alone. Somebody else is going to eat her as well. You know what that means, right? Sooner or later. Oh. The curve is looking a lot of Bitcoin. Oh, man. People with, you can even make children hate doing things they would normally love doing by introducing extrinsic motivators. What's that? What's extrinsic motivators? That's crazy. The table is clean. You speak German? No. Wie geht's? That's a lot of wife analogies, damn. Yeah. I mean, I had my part. I had my women problems in my life, man. At a certain point, if you're 37, I mean, you had your portion, and that does not mean that's their fault. It's probably my fault, right? It's like it's a bi-directional relationship. I'm just a weirdo. I know that. Okay, can we please do this? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna debug that by doing the old school debug special operations. So what we know is if we do a make def wait. If we do a make def here and we basically go to login page, we get a problem. It keeps going. Why? Why is that? Oh, my nose itches, and that's not from sniffing coke. That's from, I don't know. I'm allergic. I'm hot reloading, my man. This is the fastest hot reloading you ever see. But it was basically stuck in a loop, right? It's a panic loop. It's a stack trace, so I need to quit it and start it again because otherwise it's just stuck. That's the problem. This has hot reloading, the same as you know it from Next.js or whatever project that you use that has the same hot reloading. It builds CSS Tailwind, it builds your JavaScript files, it builds everything you want. This is just like we're used to. Let me panic here real quick. I'm thinking here are we, right? And this is going to be redirected to this project here. I know it's a little bit scuffed, but that's the way I need to develop this plugin, I know. It's a little bit weird. Where am I? Here. Okay, that works. Okay, that works. Yeah, it's a brain fuck. We're debugging in the other project, but we're working in this project. Don't ask me. Don't ask. It's just the way it needs to be. Okay, now we're gonna move this here. We're gonna move this here. Now we go back here. Do we need to, the question, we need to hit hot reload it. We cannot hot reload because we're working. So the thing is, what I'm doing is this Go mod, right? I'm replacing the dependencies a little bit for development. Uncomment this if you're working directly on the core GitHub repo. This will directly reflect changes you've made in the GOTHKIT core repo to the bootstrap folder. Documented. Pretty proud of my documentation. Press enter. Okay, that works as well. Look at that. Panic here. Beautiful. I'm actually wondering, is it actually... That's not gonna work, right? I think I need to refresh the reload the page. Yeah, because we changed another dependency. Okay, makes sense. Okay, fine. That's good. Good news. Panic, but it's good news. So the problem is going to exist. I think I know what's going on. No, I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's the next. I think it's the next serve that's the problem. Okay. It's here. Yeah, it's a redirect loop, but normally when there is some redirect stuff going on, you're gonna have this in your browser. You're gonna have something like, hey, this website is redirecting you way too much. And then you're not gonna see it in your app. You're never gonna see this thing like here. So that's a little bit concerning. The thing is that it's redirecting me to the config redirect URL, right? Which is /login. /login that's here. /login is basically this page. Which has nothing special in it. I mean, there is no... So actually... Wait, are we... This is annoying that I need to cycle to these projects here to make it work. Now we're panicking. Okay. We return, is fine. Okay. Okay, but so this page is working, right? Sign up works as well. Man, I'm so happy with this theme switcher, man. This is the theme switcher. What do you think about that? Hey. Out of the box, baby. Hey, I configured everything for you guys. Like the whole shebang is configured, man. Hey. Thank me. All for free. So the only problem we have is this login thingy, which is basically, believe it or not, the path we configured to redirect to. That's a little bit weird, isn't it? No, it's the profile thing. It was the profile page. Because that had the, yeah, okay, cool. That had the thing in. Boom, that's gonna work. Okay, yes. What could be the problem here? Can we scroll up what's going on here? Maybe we see something. Holy crap, man. That's a deep stack. Look at this. Whew! That's a deep throat. Yeah, Stack Overflow, I know that, man. Deduct assist credit. What the hell is going on? They're basically deducting money from my canonical mime header key. Oh yeah, redirect. I think I had the poor. Why can't you use Viper package for environment? I don't know what Viper is. Dutch Viper. That's what I know. That's a Viper. You know? That's the only Viper I know. Una SRT Viper GTS classica livrou blando bianche. That's exactly what it is. Let me think, because this line stinks. It looks cool, I know. I'm very proud of this line, but that line stinks. If strict, it's strict. We know that. So if it's strict, we need to redirect. But we only redirect if the out check is failing, right? Because we can easily do this, right? We can easily say, hey, yo, we return our own out, which is this thing, and check basically returns out.logged-in. If you are logged in, the check completes. So we could do this, logged in, we're gonna set that to true, right? And if we do this again, normally, you see, this is the out protected profile page I'm also gonna make for you guys, so you can update the user and you can see how it all works, right? You can see how, for example, do we have some schemas? How the schemas work, right? I deleted this because if I need to make passwords, I can just type some garbage in right now. But you can see how the schemas work, how your validation works, right? The only thing you need to do is basically call vRequest, put in the request values in your schema, and then it's basically going to give you a bunch of errors, and you can, yeah, you know, it's easy. It's the best. That's what we do at Avenue. It's just easy, 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 easy. Because I'm not easy. And if somebody knows from what movie that quote is, I'm gonna give you a free HTMX. I'm gonna give you a free HTMX course. I'm gonna give you a free coupon for the HTMX course. But you need to you cannot Google it, so I give you 25 seconds. Timer goes now. The timer goes now. 25 seconds. The first one that knows where that quote is coming from gets a free course. I use your voice as background while working. It's really calming. Is that? I really hate my voice, man. I really hate it. Senti Machine, thank you for the Prime subscription. They subscribe 2-month subscription, by the way, on a 1-month streak. So much. Thank you for supporting me. You don't need to do that, by the way. I'm not on Twitch to make money. But if you want that, why not? But you are not basically obligated to do. From a movie, yeah, we know it's from a movie. I want to know who said that. What actor said that? 25 seconds almost done, by the way. What are cheap viewers? Wait, somebody... G4sex, print RURL path and config redirect. Yeah, that's what you're gonna do. Good idea, good idea, good idea. Wait, I need to go back to this thing here. So let's do fmt println. I'm gonna print the config redirect URL, and I'm also going to print. Wait, let me do redirect URL here, something like that, and then I'm gonna copy that and paste in, and this is going to be pod. Yeah, pod like that, I think. Wait, we're gonna actually go back here. Let's panic so we don't have this stupid thingy. And then we do this. Wait, this, copy that. And then we're gonna change this to something like, yeah, something like that. Yeah, panic empty state. Okay, cool. Let's see what's going on here. We need to probably reboot because we are changing the other stuff. Man, because that's not it's not behind. This is not behind a strict route. Profile is. No, this is that. You don't care about this one. Monty Python, no, it's not. Heisenberg, it's not. It's not. It's coming from The Bad Lieutenant with Nicolas Cage, man. Come on. Do not panic. Well, the thing is that to be honest, if you have this problem, there is some bad design going on. I'm not quite 100% sure this is the way to develop this authentication stuff. We can easily fix that. We can easily fix it if we take out this profile route and we just put the profile routes here at authenticated routes. Routes that must have an authenticated user. You can put it in here. But then that means, so this is the thing. That would be the easiest solution. But that basically means that if somebody is building a plugin where one of his routes you build, I don't know, you want to build an admin backend system and it's just a plugin people can use or something that reads your database, whatever, I don't know. In Ruby you have that, right? On Rails there's this package that sits on top of your database so you can have some admin configuration panel. So there will be protected routes in that. So what I want is that some plugin can just export its routes. So the only thing you need to do to add the plugin is go to your app routes and just say backend plugin.initialize routes, give it your router, and you're good to go. And all these routes work. And because if you see what we do here, we have just this, let me close everything. We have this plugins folder and we just have this out, right? And it contains everything we need, right? It contains all the routes, all the views, all the handlers, whatever. One thing I need to figure out is the DB migrations, right? Sessions, these things, how I'm gonna, not quite sure yet. Not quite sure yet. Like I said, it's experimental, guys. So that's why I don't want to have, manually add the login here, and hopefully I can have the plugin add its own protected routes just by using an inline kit with authentication thing, which is, you know what I mean? Experimental. Django for Golang. Yeah, actually, that's something. It's because how are we going to install plugins? I mean, it's very simple, right? Why are all these other these big frameworks like Go Ravel, what is it, Go Ravel or something, and all these other things, Bigo? Why don't they pop up? One, because they don't really use Golang idiomatic approaches. Two, man, I'm completely lost. This is crazy, man. This is my disease. I want to say something and I'm already playing chess with a naked lady. Isn't that insane? How can I fix that? One and two, there are no plugins. It's very simple. For a lot of you are very experienced. You guys can basically use Echo, and you're gonna construct what you want yourself. I understand that. You're gonna pick a little bit what you want. You're gonna do something yourself. You're gonna pick some packages, and you're gonna construct your own little web application. Hey, I completely agree. But you need to understand that if you want to make Golang great, just like Ruby, back in the day, Ruby was just a normal language. Nobody cares. Golang is already way more matured and way more popular because all these tools are written in that. But the only way to get it more popular to the people that want to basically, hey, I want to do something in Golang, I want to spin up, I want to just install it, because that's what it's going to be. You just install it and then you do make dev, and your server boots and you have everything open. Right? You just migrate your database, you have a full authentication stuff, and you're good to go. I mean, these people likely gonna stay and gonna stick a little bit longer to experiment, because you're also gonna guide them with, hey, you're gonna place your handlers, here, you're gonna place your views here, you're gonna do this here, right? So they are guided, and that's going to get more adoption. You know what I mean? Somebody needs to do it. Would you may add role-based out? Well, this could be anything, man. It's going to be, for now, just a simple out with a session and an email confirmation. But you can use roles and all that stuff. And I really want to get this out so people can see how it works. And I want to build like data tables. Because what we do at Avenue, we have these self-contained components and all that stuff. Because this is MVC pattern. There's so much that I need to teach, but there's so less time for me to do it. So right now, this is basically some model types controller thingy. But what we do at Avenue is we have these components, and for example, data tables, and that's self-contained. So there is no handler somewhere else or a view somewhere else, or it's everything that data table needs to work is inside of its own folder. The view, the temple view, the handler, everything is inside of that. And this is super interesting because it's a little bit like Laravel's Livewire, where you also have this component that's self-contained, right? And that's basically the inspiration a little bit, because if I'm working on a specific data table, I'm never going to conflict with somebody else on my team, because they are working on something else and they're going to update stuff and commit or whatever, or make a pull request. But I'm sitting in this data table, completely self-contained, handler, types, whatever. So we cannot interfere with each other. We can, you know what I mean? It's like these little features are self-contained in their component. And I really love that stuff. And I want to make so much videos about it, but the first thing that I need is I need to show people that with something decent, right? Let me fucking cook! So what could happening is it has nothing really to do, guys. It has to do with the redirect stuff, but it's not really the problem because listen here, right? So the problem is going to be that we're redirecting. So we are, listen, so we are, I think it's because we are redirecting from inside this middleware. No, this is, we don't need to return anything here. Maybe it's this git redirect scuffed.
It's niet waar, hè?
Guys, listen. Maybe some people don't know what's going on yet. That's fine. But I knew. I was working on this. We had something that was called HTMX redirect. And I said, man, we're going to support HTMX out of the bat. So we're going to check for the for this HTMX request header. And so we can do a client-side redirect, right? So you need to understand if you're, because I'm using a lot of HTMX and this is also made to work a lot with HTMX. Sometimes you need to have client-side redirects. The thing is that I basically need to do this function called HTMX redirect, which called get redirect. But I changed it. I changed the name to redirect, so it's actually recursively calling itself. You know what I mean? It's like, ha. So we need to do an HTTP redirect to get response, get request, and then the URL has been given. Actually, we need a status as well, I think. Status, delete this, return null here, right? Wait, is redirect not doing that? URL code, okay, it's that. So let's do URL. Hey! I'm sorry! Could spend the whole fucking day here. Actually, now we have this panic somewhere, is it? No, this is my installer. This is my installer. I'm very proud on the installer, I'm not gonna lie. This is how you install a framework. And I'm so proud on it, man. It's like, what the hell? Where is this out checker? Did we all? Yes, we deleted everything. We're good to go. Good to go. We're good to go. This is gonna work. This is the out protected profile page. Nice. So basically, what we could do is now we're gonna say that we have no out because that's was basically what I want to do on stream. Was this function, make this fucking function work? Alright, so now it's going to basically redirect us back to login. Sorry, it's my bad. You can actually fire me, or at least deduct 1 hour of my fee for this stupid bug that I created. I love it. Profile. Not gonna work. Noise. Okay. So how can we do this authentication? No clue. Let's see. Man, the problem is, okay, I'm changing that in that repo. Very important because that I... Okay, so what we need to do is we need to check the session. No, we already checked that probably. Another thing is how the database is going to work. Right now, the database works with calling DB query, but I don't want to have it like that. I want to have it like you call your app.db. That's what you're gonna call app.db new insert. This works with bun, but this is no problem because, like I said, GOTHKIT is a little bit of opinionated, but also made in a way you can change it. Why? How can you? I'm gonna document everything, right? If you go to app, actually db, you can see that what I'm doing is I'm calling the kitDB. The kitDB is what I'm doing. I'm basically instantiating for you a normal SQL database. And then you can construct your own SQLC, SQLX, GORM. You can do whatever you want after you call this. So this is going to basically create a new DB based on your driver. Right now it supports SQLite, but it can support MySQL and Postgres later on. You know, it's not a big of a deal. So it's kind of extensible. You change it here and it's gonna work in your application. You know what I mean? It would be nice for you guys to try it out and see if, hey, maybe we should do this. Like, I don't know. You need to use it before we can actually know how to make it better, right? But first, let us have an authentication plugin, huh? So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna say ses. It's gonna be a kit session, and we're gonna call. It's gonna be the user session name. Get session. So basically, what I did, that we have something that is called the Gorilla Sessions built into Kit here, so you can easily get and set sessions. Right? This does not return an error because get session always returns a session, no matter what. You can give it whatever name you want. So if you want to create a new session, you can do get session, and it's gonna give you this thing, and you can set values on it, right? A little bit Gorilla stuff built in, so you don't need to do all these annoying stuff like creating this. And it all works with your AMP file, which is an app secret, which is never use this secret, by the way, but just for demonstration purposes, you know, like a minimum 32-bit long, byte long thingy. So this is a session. So we're gonna have a token, and I think we could do token OK is going to be sesh values, and we're gonna get the token, session token. Session token, which is basically this. It's the token in your session. I'm not an expert in these things, but I'm trying to follow what other people do, which is a random token, so we can fetch it by token instead of fetching by ID, because fetching by ID could basically open up an attack vector where people just try to construct something and increment IDs or something, right? And with a token, you can't. With a random stuff, it's basically impossible to do that, right? The next Symfony framework, but in Go, yeah, something like that. That's quite ambitious, I know, but I think it's the only way. Like I said, we are building this. I'm gonna also make a couple videos later on where we're gonna show the complete Avenue backend demo. Live. I'm gonna show you live how it works. It's all with HTMX, it's all with Golang, it's all with Temple. It's like this. It's structured exactly like this, kinda, right? but without all the helpers. Well, we have helpers, and that's what we're doing right here. We are basically extracting everything that I'm doing there, that we are doing there, into this. Things that didn't work, things that works, things that we changed over time because we suffered a lot. But right now we are at that spot that we are so fucking... It's so amazing. It's just like a make build. It's one single binary. We even have a flag where we compile a piece of the application because some of our code needs to run on client servers. Because financial stuff, right? Financial security, we have big institutional money that invests money on the platform, but they want to have a duplication of the buy side marketplace for them on their own servers. So the only thing we need to do is just build it, and we have one binary, and we just take that and put it on their servers, and they just configure it with environment variables and call it a fucking day. I mean, these guys, they were like, huh? How is this even possible? Hey man, hey, that's fucking Golang, right? They don't need to hassle with unicorn servers or fucking lamp stack and temp stack and blam stack and JavaScript and TypeScript and build and build. No, it's just like a binary. Just here is it for you, a single file. GG. What about Clerk? Yeah, running your own authentication is not the best. Well, it's tedious. The cool stuff is you can implement your super-based authentication as well, right? But we need to have that because every framework has its own authentication stuff, so we need to have it as well. Okay. Okay, I have actually no clue what that's gonna do. Let me panic here real quick. Help. Like that, and otherwise we're gonna actually do an fmt println the token. Okay. Man, so many things open, man. So annoying here. Ah, here. This is a session token. That works very well, I'm not gonna lie, it's like the first time. What are we gonna do if we... So what we're gonna do is this. We're gonna make an out like that. So out is gonna be this thing. And so that's gonna be empty. So why are we doing this? This is a little bit a trick that we used as well, 11U. Is we have something that is called logged in, a boolean on this out script. And our check function says out.logged in. So the cool stuff on this is that even if there's a problem, you can return this out struct, even though you don't have the user ID set and the email and roles and whatever stuff and organization, whatever you want to put in there. You could have this. This is our own. You can change this, right? You can create your own implementation. You can make it as big as you want, right? But because you check the logged in bool, it's always going to be false defaultly, right? So you could actually, because this function wants us to return an out and an error, what we could do if we don't find this token, we could actually just return the out and, well, I don't think returning an error is good here. And that maybe might change because look at this here. You see, we call error handler on this function. But we might do not have a token because we might cannot find a token because he's not logged in. But that's fine. That does not mean that if there is no token, we need to return an error here. We should return an error if something, what we want to do in here, really is bad. Like, I don't know what's happening here. The world is breaking. Then you can actually return an error here. That's a little bit weird, but also not. Isn't it better to make out a generic where the developer himself will determine the implementation? Well, that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. So this is exactly what this thing does. So let me show you, right? I'm going to explain this to you obviously. So in the framework itself, we have a middleware that basically checks this function. This is the most important thing. This function is what you implement. And the only thing it needs to do is return an out interface. And this interface has one method, and that's check. And it returns a bool. That's the only thing you need to do. And then if you go to your routes in your application, right, you can see that we have a with authentication where the strict is false, and this is a must authenticated. This is might be authenticated. This is must be authenticated. And the only thing you need to do is set the boolean to strict to true and put your routes in here. And what we are doing is this. Look at this. We are making a plugin that will just call initialize all its routes, where we set our out func to the plugin's authenticate user method. Could be, which is going to be called here. So if you have a Supabase login, for example, you want to do Supabase authentication, you're going to basically write a Supabase plugin. You're going to say supabase.authenticate user or whatever, this function that implements that. And maybe you're going to initialize some routes, some views or something. I have no fucking clue, probably not, but you know what I mean? And that's what we're doing here. This is this out thingy, right? Let me close everything. This is this plugin out. And everything in here contains what the plugin needs to work. Sign up view, authentication view, profile view, whatever. Email verification view. And handlers. And most and for all is this function, which is the authenticate user. And this is our own implementation. Right? This is what I think is because otherwise, if you do not have something like this, and you're gonna users write their own middleware, you need to set up the routes, you need to basically, there are a lot of stuff that needs to be done, because this is very important to understand. What I'm doing here is I'm setting this out key. Right now, the implementation of the plugin, the implementation of authentication does not need to know anything. The only thing it needs to do is return an interface that has a check method. What I'm doing under the hood is I'm setting an out key with this authentication thingy, which you can cast to. So that means that I can provide view helpers here. View helpers out. You can call view out. You give it a context, and it will return you your authentication, which you then can actually just cast to my users or something. You know what I mean? So I thought actually very long about this on how it needs to work, and I think I really like it. It makes it so more convenient for people to develop these things, and it's all gonna work out of the bat. So the whole frameworks just work. All methods, convenience stuff is just gonna work out of the bat. And if you do not have something like this, which is kind of opinionated, I understand that, but if you do not have something like this, it's going to be very hard for other users to kind of adopt it, because I think it's like this. You're either gonna use a framework or you're not, right? There are people that are gonna say, hey, I'm gonna basically use Echo, or I'm gonna use Chi or standard library, I'm gonna build my own, and fuck you all. You have these users. But you also have users that basically say, hey man, I would just want to build some stuff, and that's it. And I just want to boot it up and everything works for me, and I just need to configure it and play some views and make some handlers and make fucking millions of money. That's also a thing. But something in between is something that already exists, right? For example, this Chi, Echo, Fiber, that's something in between. It gives you a lot of tools, but not too much. Bring your own database, bring your own this, bring your own that, bring your own authentication. Here are a couple of middlewares, you know. How do you do things? Hey, do it whatever you want to do. I don't think this works in a framework. That's not what frameworks do. Frameworks guide you into an opinionated implementation, so everybody does the same thing. And you can hire a developer working on a framework, Laravel, Ruby, Django, Rails, Django. They know exactly where to find things. But if you hire a developer for an Echo or a Fiber or a Chi, yeah, that could turn out as a surprise, you know? And that's the difference, right? I like it, except that the context is not transferred explicitly. Yeah, I know. I 100% agree. I hate it as well. At 11U, we have... I'm going to show you. Which is got started. 11U, we have the same thing, right? But 11U, we have... how did we implement it in here? We have this. We have out user, right? And out user. Here, this is out. So this is what I'm doing here. This what we return. But this is basically the concrete type, right? So there's not a cast. It's just no interface, right? This out has. So you can see where it's coming from, right? You can see how the idea is coming from, because we do that. And then we have in view, shared, we have this. Because it's context, we need to cast that, but it will always return this types out thingy. And otherwise we return an empty out if we cannot find it, which always will logged in will return false, right? So there's no pointers, no panics, no dereferences. It's just a false bool, which you can, which must be authenticated. You know what I mean? It's like you do just this. You see? And some onboarding shenanigans, which is what hard-coded stuff. But you know what I mean? It's like, and it works very well. It looks very simple to understand. I write comments, guys. You see, if I need, I write comments. So that's where the idea is coming from, right? Utilities for testing is coming as well, because I have a very good pattern to do that. It's a little bit scuffed. Well, not scuffed. It's a little bit. It has to do with tier down and all that stuff. So because we use global DB right here. So we need to set the DB into a test environment. Just a little bit like you know it in Rails, like where you just have a test DB and every test it clears it and it makes a fresh migration and all stuff. So that's what I'm gonna do. But besides that, the only thing I need to do is just use Testify or something to test. That's the best package, right? But it's just the database is very important. And also the testing handlers. I'm gonna write a little wrapper function to test your handlers, so you don't need to use the HTTP test server and response record and all that bullshit yourself, because it's a little bit annoying, right? So if you need to test 20 or 50 handlers and you need to write this response recorder shenanigans all the fucking time, it's a little bit tedious. So I'm gonna make a simple wrapper around that, and that's the only thing that's gonna happen. Very important, but still not done, because it's testing. It's always a last. Should be the first. Man. Well, like I said, it's just not completely subject to change, but we need to start somewhere. Somebody, you know what I mean? We need to go back here, right? So this is the token, right? I'm also going to change, like I said, the DB. Right now it's going to be DB query, which doesn't make any sense. And then you have your DB here. Still finding a good way. And if you guys could think about that, still finding a good way on how we need to handle this database, because this is a bun object. Which you could change to whatever you want. But the thing is that I really like bun. I like SQLC as well. But to get things going very fast, I'm not quite sure if SQLC is the way to go. Are you going to build a community around that framework? Well, guys, I mean, I'm already have a community with a lot of people. It's not going to be that hard to build a community around that. Any beginning is hard, right? The cool stuff is that I can back this up, right? I can back this up because I'm using it actually, like the validation package and all that stuff. We're using that in production, right? We're using a lot of these concepts are actually used in production, right? Legit. So I'm gonna do this var sesh, no. Var session is gonna be a session, right? A new select. Actually, I can do that. Model and session. Request context. What we need. So if the add is not null, what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually just, I mean, if you cannot find a session, we just like return is we don't need to have the error. We don't need to have the error because, and that's why I'm doubting a little bit that this authenticate user should that return an error. It should return a kit out. Because basically, there are maybe some small use cases where you really want to have your error handler to handle this error. Maybe. Most of the time, all errors coming from an authenticating a user is basically, hey, listen, this guy is not authenticated. But you might want to log some stuff out, right? You might want to handle some stuff as well. A very small chance, so that's why this error is there. But you can see you're not going to use this because if there is an error being returned, well, we're going to call the error handler, right? Which is how you know it from Fiber or Echo. They have the same concept where you can set a error handler which will handle the error, right? Which is a kind of opinionated. You could know that handlers are going to return errors if I make something, you know what I mean? I think it's very important. The cool stuff is, guys, that this all works without the kit. Because it's 100% compatible with the standard library. And what do I mean by that? You could do this, right? If you say, hey, I don't want to use this kit thingy, well, you could do something like func foo. And you could say w http response writer. Yeah. Or http request, right? You could do, I think, just this, right? And then go to your routes and just use something like app get /foo and just use something like handle. Wait, we are in out. That's a little bit annoying. Not here. These other routes. Let me copy that. Something like this. Get foo. And instead of making a kit handler, you could do just, what was it? Foo. You see? And it works. So you're not obligated to build a kit handler in your router because it's a cheat router. If you want, you can also just change the router, right? As long you can change your router. If you don't want to use Chi, you don't need to. You can change that. It's not baked in into the framework. It's baked in into the bootstrap, right? So let me show you this. There's a little bit of an explanation how I created this. This is the bootstrap. So what Bootstrap does, it's basically a Bootstrap project. And if we install the framework, we're gonna copy the Bootstrap and replace everything. We're gonna do, you see, we replace the import paths with your project name. But all the function, so this is Git functionality, helper functions and all that stuff. The app is bootstrapped with some idioms, some opinionated stuff like Chi router and all that stuff. But you can change that if you really want to. You can change the database if you really want to. And everything will just work out of the bat because we're using a lot of context. We use a lot of just normal standard library, HTTP, handler stuff. And that's a bit of the beauty of this thing, which might make it successful because people are not basically obliged, or how do you say that, to use certain things that I am providing you to use, if that makes sense, man. I'm today in my political, I don't know what it is. Today I'm in my political thingy, in my diplomatic thing. So that's basically the thingy, the cool stuff about it. Like, it gives you everything you need. But if you don't want to use it, then you don't use it or swap it for something else and everything will just work. That was basically the contract I made with myself. Like, hey, this is Golang. This is not like something we can opinionate, but we cannot force. Hey Anthony, when you were a freelancer, did you charge per project? No, I've charged per month. That's the best thing I can give you. The best advice I can give you is if you're a freelancer, you always charge for a month. And you don't promise turnovers. You're just a normal dev. And you charge each month. Not in an hour, not per project. In a month. That's the best thing. It gives you the best of, it gives you the peace of mind. It gives you the peace of mind to get your money every month, but to also work hard so you do not need to work each day if you want, and still getting paid each month. But you need to, of course, provide value. And it also gives you the flexibility to just work hard and take another client. And have 2 clients that pay you a month. So you have double the month. So if you charge 8K and then you charge 8K again, you have 16K in the fucking bank. Amazing. You know what I mean? That's what you could do. I think 3 is way too much, but 2 is doable. Yeah. Let's delete this foo. The reason why we have this kit is because I just like to have, for example, a kit render. For example, here, where we render here. Kit render the sign up form and it all works out of the bat, right? Or kit dot. I'm gonna add some other cool stuff like the out. You can have the out here, right? And then you could check to see if somebody is authenticated. You see, that's the beauty of it, right? You see, if git out check, it's just like Laravel, right? I'm gonna extract these functions, right? I'm gonna extract that into what I call into this model thingy where we're gonna add these functions here, just like here, right? Create user from form values. But right now, when I'm developing, I try to write everything below each other so I can get things going, and then after that I can see, hey, what can I move around once I know it works, because otherwise it's going to be in a folder mania and you're gonna, you know what I mean? It's just a nasty thing. So we're gonna say here where token is going to be token, right? That's what we want. We might want to have another query here as well where we're going to check the expiry date, right? Because what you could do is you could get the session and then say if session dot expires at after time dot now or something before. You could do a time now dot after or expires at before, something like that. I don't really matter. What's the best? I don't know. Then you could do a redirect as well, right? Actually, you could return your out as well. I would suggest we put some logging in here. The question rather is, hey, login again. We can use as log here, but is that what the user really wants, right? Probably we can, right? Because is it not a global thingy where you can change as log all over the place? Or maybe we need to configure it in the app itself, where people can change it. Something we need to think about. So we can return actually this, right? Return the out again, which is going to be false, right? The check is going to be false. Or we can do a query where we check if the session is not already expired. I think that's way better, right? So I'm not quite sure how I need to do this. I could do something like where expires at. I need to Google this, to be honest. I'm gonna lie. Dutch Viper. Golang bun dates. Golang bun query date. Hey, what would you recommend to read learning about building front ends that look good and are responsive? I think, to be honest, the best thing you could do is build them yourself. And it's pretty funny because I had a call with the team, which are basically 2 people, and I was saying, well, guys, listen, one of the most important things you need to learn as a developer if you're getting older is front end. And this is a very unpopular opinion. Even though that I'm a very good backend developer, well, I'm proficient backend developer. What is good, what is bad, that's something that you can decide for yourself. But I made some very complex backends like actor frameworks and all that stuff. But I'm also very, very good in the front end. And I think it's very important. I think, especially on the business side, or even if you're an employee in a company, in a startup scale-up, writing front ends is way more important than writing backends. And this sounds a little bit weird, but it's so important. The front end is way more important than the backend. Because a backend you can fake, but the front end you can't, right? Like I said, way in the beginning, Lavenue operated on a basically, it was a Next.js application and the backend was Excel. We had an Excel sheet and an Airtable basically. We had Airtable where everything was stored, where everybody was dumping in stuff, and because everything was manually, there was no automation yet. A startup, you're just starting out, there's no automation yet. Repayments, everything was just stored in a single Airtable, and yeah, that was the backend. And we had the Next.js, but it was the front end was very important because the user needs to get onboarded. The user needs to know what to do. The user needs to click the button. It needs to make sense. It needs to be appealing for him to trust the company, to get some stuff going. That's very important in the beginning. So if you are just a backend engineer, that is very good. but you cannot do front end, you're actually, they need to hire a second person, you know? It's like, but if you're very good in front end, but also very good in back end, it's perfectly possible. You have superpowers. This is going to be the most important thing you're ever going to learn in your life. If you can build and you can market and you can sell, you have superpowers. You're an unstoppable machine with only success lying in front of him, her. And with build, I mean, you build a solution, but you also build a front end. You build a complete package, and that's very important for a company, for a company as well, to look for an employee. If you can find somebody that can just is the whole package, that's amazing, right? And that's what we do at Avenue as well. We hire people that can basically code a feature from start to finish, from reading the Figma, or basically not even Figma, from designing something with Tailwind that looks good for the user, that has some good UX, with the backend functionality and the queries on top of that, and you can ship that feature without anybody else, without needing to have 20,000 stand-up meetings. Then you can run, then you can basically, that's why we outscale every single competitor, right? Because we can just do things so fast, because we just built everything ourselves. With 3 people, we can go in parallel and build everything we want without interfering each other. Isn't that beautiful? And that's a superpower. Will you build an UI library like ChatCN for this? Like, I'm already building this a little bit, right? And you can see this here. Look at that. I don't know if I think the application is down here because we're doing here. Yeah, this expires that. Actually, we need to fix that, right? Wait, what are we here? Okay. You see, this is basically ChatCN components, right? You see that? With this. You know what I mean? I will teach people how to make these things. I think it's in... Where did I wrote this thing? It's somewhere in out. Oh no, we don't know. Where the fuck am I? It's just this. The button attributes and the input attributes. That's how I do things. I tried a lot of stuff on how to build components, but I like it like this, where you just have a button and you just call button attributes here, and it will lay out all the attributes you want. So you have a clean button, and you can give it arguments, so you can configure it. I think it's way more cleaner, because you want to have, sometimes you want to have HX, like HTMX attributes in here. And if you make it a component, like a temple component, it's just a little bit... we have the same in Avenue. We have both. We started out, that's like I said before, the same thing here with input others, right? You can see errors has passwords. And this basically does all this stuff, right? It's not too much code, right? You see, it's like... I mean, if you check this code or you check a Next.js application, it's kind of the same thing, right? It's not really a lot of different stuff going on. I think this works best. And right now we have an HTML component instead of a temple component, because we wanna have some attributes on that. You know what I mean? We started out with components. I can show you if you want. I mean, Like everything that I'm trying to do in this framework is based on the lessons I have learned by building this in production. So let me show you, let me close everything here. Let me open up UI, button for example, right? So button is this is a complete setup, right? This is actually, we have all these variants, it's completely set up, but there's not a lot of code, right? It's only 50 lines of code and we have the buttons for everything we want on our application. We never need to write a button again. For input, we have an input component. You see this temple input where we have input props here. You see this? The problem is, this looks good on paper, right? Let me show you. For example, I have a login. For example, here. Did I change that? At login form here. You see, we have this component. That's our login form. But we basically, right now, we don't do it anymore because it blocks us with a lot of things. Sometimes we don't want the errors below, right? You can see here. Now the errors are here, right? But with a component, most of the time, these errors, you're going to hardcode the place of the errors in your component somewhere. But what if you don't want that? What if this is like an inline form where you want to have both errors under each other, under the inline form? Then you cannot do that anymore because it's all hard-coded in your component. And then you're stuck. Then you can basically say an if-else, like if it's inline, blah, blah, blah. It's just a mess, right? So that's why we changed to something like, let me create strategy form to do it like this. Input, name, placeholder, values, UI input, UI class, UI if. This looks a bit scuffed. Well, I like it. But this is a bit weird, right? But this is like, give me the UI input. Then I'm going to give it a special class. And if the arrows has a name, then we're going to say that. And that could be a temple KV, by the way. But this is fun. I like this, right? So give me UI input. Change the class. If arrows has name, then it's going to be a border red. I mean, how clean can this be? I mean, I don't know. This looks good to me. Let us be honest. Game Gears, isn't it? It wouldn't be prettier to write more OOP way like components, but yeah, but Game Gears, somebody said that on my Twitter. Something like you were mentioning. But I don't know how to do that. It's like, how do you do this? What do you mean by that, Game Gears? Can you give me a snippet of code? Because I was trying to do something like you are doing, because this is a good way to do it. It opens up a new way of doing things, but I just cannot manage to do what you're doing because the render function always takes in a writer and all that stuff. Like, where do you guys come with these things? So if you can give me a little bit of a Go Playground snippet or a GitHub a guest so I can copy and test it right now, then I would be super helpful, because maybe it was you on my Twitter, I don't know, but somebody said the same thing like you were mentioning. And I said, wait, I need to use that because that's amazing. But I cannot figure it out how to do it. So maybe it's going to change the game once again. Who knows, right? Where are you from? Mean77. I'm from Belgium, man. Which is the current evaluation from Avenue? 300 million. Doing frontend in Go feels like wrestling with problems that have been solved. Yeah, nonetheless, not anymore. Not anymore. This music is playing for 20 hours straight. What the fuck is going on here? There is always one song that always needs to play for 20 minutes straight. I don't understand why that is. Maybe it's because I'm favoriting it or something. I have no clue. But right now, it isn't anymore, to be honest. I think writing frontends has never been so easy with Temple and the way I set things up anymore. It's just Super easy. You have complete formatting. I mean, you see, it's everything just works. Tailwind, everything. This is the full development experience, in my opinion. Just like you're developing in any other language. Share that playlist. It's the EDM playlist on Artlist. Nice to meet you. I'm from Kazakhstan, new to Go, and I'm starting with Juni with your channel. Hey man, I wish you very good luck. Make sure you start with the How to Golang playlist from the beginning, because that's small topics that's going to teach you Go. And then you might wanna maybe the JSON thingy, the JSON project. Because besides that, a lot of my videos are a little... Well, complicated is a big word, but not beginner friendly, I would say. Because people are mad at me. People are mad at me at Reddit because I cannot teach very well, they say. They say that I'm actually not beginner friendly. And that I'm not preparing my content. But they don't understand is that I'm doing this in my free time, for free most of the time, you know. Even though my courses are not basically well prepared, and that's true, but it gives you the effect of seeing somebody make something from scratch, making mistakes, as you will do it. Instead of giving you a textbook, hey, a textbook school approach on teaching stuff. So when your course is done, you don't know shit, right? It's the same thing. You can basically watch a fucking porn movie, right? For 1 hour straight, you watch a porn movie, and then you go to your girlfriend for the first time as a virgin, and you're not gonna know what to do. Because everything went perfectly fine, and she was screaming, and they were doing it for hours and hours and hours, and it was so fucking wild, and you think you got it, but the moment it's your turn in real life, it's not gonna happen like that. It's the same thing with programming, right? A tutorial can basically teaches you like, oh, it's structured and schemas and diagrams and UP. Oh, what a good Adrian Labs. Oh, Adrian Labs. Oh, you're doing such a good job, Adrian Labs. Alex Edwards, his book is so fucking good, but I still suck and I make 20k a year. Because it's not practical. I'm giving you the practical stuff. I'm spending 1 hour on stream fixing a redirect because I basically did a recursion call. Hey, okay, now you wasted 1 hour of your time seeing how I fix a simple, stupid bug. But hey, maybe it's never gonna happen again to you, you know what I mean? Oh, man. Oh. I'm so sorry. Cut that out. Cut that out, man. That was not safe for work. Man, I was so mad at people at Reddit. Somebody said, hey, Anthony GG, don't watch him because he's not safe for work. And I said, huh? But now, this guy has right. I am not safe for work. But we are not at work. You know what I mean? We are here. Life isn't always beginner friendly. That's true. Hey Anthony, I bought all your courses and already subscribed to Total Coder. Would it be a lot to ask you to make more content about crypto bots using Golang for Total Coder subscribers? Yeah. That's a little bit, that's a very hard answer to give because you bought all my courses and you're subscribed to Total Coder. So what should I say here? The thing is that right now there is not really a focus on crypto bots. I could say that. But if you are not, I know on the Total Coder there is not all videos from Patreon are ported yet. So if you never was on Patreon, I have some videos there. Do not subscribe to that Patreon channel. Wait. If you want to see those videos, because you never see them, let me know. So I can move them to the Total Code. There is a lot of these crypto things that I'm building. The problem is I cannot do a lot of crypto anymore. Because if I make one crypto video on YouTube, my whole Discord is getting scammed. It's crazy. One crypto video on YouTube, and all my people on Discord are getting scammed by impersonators. It's wild. Saying like, hey, doing like it's me, sending them a friend request and talking about investing in crypto, blah blah blah, and yoinking all their money. So that's why I can't do crypto content anymore, you know. I could do it privately, but still. I would like to get the Patreon content too. So that's good, Pedro. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to move these because I have the blockchain stuff which could be interesting, which I'm porting. It's already a couple episodes, and I'm gonna port all the rest over for you. It has these where I do this arbitrage thingy, blah blah blah. I will put it over. It's not structured. You need to understand that. It's not like 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a bit of a mess. But maybe here and there are some concepts you can use. Do you work as a programmer? Yeah. Well, yeah. I'm actually a CTO, but I'm actually a programmer. Because I don't want to manage, you know. A lot of talking, huh? Okay, we're gonna check this first, and the rest is for... You can check the project out if you want, guys. It's on GitHub. Place markets. But like I said, it's still not... You can see I'm making all the documentation ready for you guys. I need to change a lot of stuff. But once it's ready, it's going to be very good. So use it at your own risk. The authentication stuff is not in here. The authentication stuff is in NTM. It's somewhere. But I'm gonna merge these two together all at the right time. But if you guys cannot wait to see how it all works, you can check the bootstrap folder, which is the folder you need. But you can install it already. You could do install it, but there is a problem again. Like I said, it's not gonna work because we have a bug in here, which is this redirect bug. You see, this is a recursion bug we had, but I'm gonna patch that because I'll soon, maybe tonight, I'm patching that. You know. Nice theme. Yeah, I've been liking this theme. Normally I use Groovebox, but I don't know. I saw DHH using this theme, and I was inspired. You see, some people inspire me as well, right? I maybe inspire you from time to time, but other people inspire me as well from time to time, and I think that's a nice circle, right? That's cool on being on the internet. And yeah, it's the same. Like, some people hate DHH, some people like him, some people hate me, some people like me. That's live, and that's fine, you know. I started using Groovebox because of you. Yeah, I think Groovebox is a very goated thing. But I'm using this for so many years right now. It's like, man, maybe I should change things up a little bit. DHH rules. I think he rules as well. He's just amazing. Nord better, but go off. Yeah, it's like Nord is also good, and you have Night Owl, and Night Owl is a little bit too much contrast. This is like, I don't like too much stuff going on. Like, just these thingies is fine, these functions, and then there's nully, and then some text here, and that's the only colors it has, and I think that's pretty good. I think integers are, yeah. GGDHH, I don't know. DHH is, I think he's a little bit further in life than me. I think we are at the same age. I don't know, but what is his age? I think his company is what is his fucking name? David Heinemann Hansen. Look at that, he has his own fucking wiki page. I don't! He's 44! I have time. I have fucking time. I'm 37. Man, when I'm 44, that's basically 3 years. It's 7 years from now. I'm a man. Holy crap. I could basically... Hey. I have time. 37 years old. 37 signals. Isn't that a signal? God damn it. We are at equilibrium. The stars are aligned. The future is looking good. Sam Ruby, who the hell is that? Jason Fry, that's his partner, right? I still have time to also drive a couple of sport cars instead of the BMW. Do you know the BMW, guys? Did you already saw him? I don't know. There's a direct messages on Instagram. Luckily, I swapped it out. Because, where's the BM, man? Look at that. Look at this thing, man. This is the competition. Look at that. The M3 Competizione. Look at this. Isn't that an amazing beast? This thing is wild, man. I swear to God, this thing is brutal. And I have my exhaust. I'm gonna have my stage 1 in a couple of weeks. It's gonna have an FE exhaust system. So it's gonna be a little bit more poppy. It already pops and bangs, but then it's going to pop, pop, pop. It's gonna be like World War II. We're not driving my city, you know. It also has the special BMW anniversary badge. Special colors here. Right. It has 510 horsepower. Yeah. I'm very happy with this car, man. I think it's a good daily driver, you know. You could buy whatever you want, but at a certain point of time, I like cars. Like, I don't basically spend money on something else. I'm always just normal. I don't have these fancy clothes or stuff. I don't go out all the time. So from time to time, you can buy yourself something you really... It's basically... Like, my life is basically... is trying to let my dreams come true. You know? Like, I have this bucket list. For example, previous year, I was running the marathon, right? That was on my bucket list. I want to do that. So I did it. And some things I want to buy... I want to buy an M3. I want to buy a sports car, like this iconic cars, right? Like M3, maybe something like that. Like the M3. You have a lot of these things, like the Porsche GT, blah blah blah, or something, or maybe an AMG, but that's like scuffed. It's Mercedes, unless you buy the C. What is it? 63? Is that the C63? Yeah, right. Yeah, the C63 AMG, but they don't make it anymore. Like these cars, I dreamt about. It was basically a boy's dream, so that's why I bought it, right? So I'm trying to get all my dreams completed before I die, because I could die tomorrow. You know what I mean? How much HP? 510 stock. Kids don't know what stage 1 means. Yeah, it's true. So stage 1 means that you have stage 1, 2, I don't know, 3, probably not. Probably it is. I have no fucking clue if there is 3. But stage 1 is they basically chip, they basically reprogram the ECU, the what is it, the electric car? How do they call that? ECU cars. Electronic control unit. They basically change that stuff and then they do new exhaust and they configure it, yada 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 yada. They do some stuff, right? And then you're gonna have more horsepower. And then you have a stage 1 and stage 2. But I think for stage 2 they need to change some parts. Because, yeah, and I think stage 2 it's gonna have over 700 HP, right? Over the 700 HP, baby. That's basically faster than Ferrari, right? I mean, Ferrari, for example, the F40 HP, how much does it have? This is bullshit. What is this? It's a V8, but it's 471. Mine is already faster. 0 to 100. But this is like an old school guy. Like 4.7 seconds, what the hell is that? Slow as fuck. You won't believe it, but like, again, like the BMWs, man, these things are basically no joke, man. Like the M3 that I have is so fucking fast. It's insane. It's like, these things, man, you're not gonna compete with these cars, man. All these Johnny boys with their fucking Golfs and all these other bullshit. Man, this thing rips. It's very fast. STG3, Stage 3, remap, downpipe, and turbo customizations, yeah. Stage 3 is a little bit over the top. Stage 1 is what I want, like a little bit more. Maybe Stage 2. I'm also gonna change, where is this thing? Oh, I already closed. I'm also gonna change all these, like the diffuser and the front lips and the side skirts all in carbon, because the roof is in carbon, right? It has the carbon roof. But now I want to have all these accessories also in the carbon. So I'm gonna change that as well. So it's gonna be pretty sick. It's gonna be a pretty sick car. Because I think it's also one of the last times we're gonna buy something like that. Right now we have the G80. It's a 6-in-line. I don't know if they're gonna make something like that again, right? Because it's electric cars coming up. It's like all these regulations. We might have the last one in its kind, right? You know what I mean? Cars are boring. Maybe. But at a certain, I don't know. Do you have an autobahn in your country? Yes, we have. Zolder. Okay, one more thing. And then it's GG. It's the Golang bun query date. I want to see how we do that. Yeah, I know that. Yeah. Oh, where? False. Or weather! we do some really crazy queries in Avenue. This is insane. I don't want to do it. I will figure it out later on. Actually, I'm tired. Coming to your house very soon. At your fingertips, guys. Very, very, very soon. I need to change some stuff. Like, I have some ideas how I can change some small helpers. Then I'm gonna implement this. It's almost done. Right? We have all these views already. It's almost done. We also have a confirmation. I hope. Shit, I can't, right? Probably. Can I copy this? Probably not. Okay, GG. Oh yeah, I'm already registered. Hey, isn't that amazing that it actually does that? We need to catch that error. Actually, this is a unique thingy. We need to catch that. Then we're gonna have a profile page. And then I'm gonna find a way to install the. I think I'm gonna ship it with this plugin in the plugins folder already, so you can just uncomment it and you have it. What do you think? Maybe by the end of the week, I can make a YouTube video explaining what I built, letting people to try it, and then have a first pass of suggestions and fixes and whatever we could do or we can do. And adding more database drivers. I'm gonna make more videos like how to do these self-contained components, data tables, how we do that, data tables and all that stuff, filters, right? Like if you know how to build a data table in this framework, you're good to go, right? And then we're gonna see what happens, right? I don't know. The reason is because we need to build an admin panel, and I might use this, or I'll just do it in the same repository we have right now. I'm not sure. Might do it in the same repository. It's gonna be a little bit easier, but would be cool to write something in production with this, because it's the same way like how we set things up, just a little bit more generic, I would say. Unlimited, yeah, but we don't have an unlimited Autobahn, right? I thought the Autobahn, okay, the Autobahn is basically what you mean. The Autobahn, where you can drive unlimited, I can see, but yeah, okay. Game Gears, finally, okay, cool. I want to check this real quick, because that's what I actually want to see, because this can save a lot of time. So you have template. Okay, you take the input, which is weird that okay. Ah. But yeah, I know this, but the thing is that the thing is that it's still gonna have your it doesn't give you a lot of flexibility on where you're gonna put your errors, right? Errors here. So your field errors are here, right? But there are some there are some use cases where you don't want that. So, but the thing is, Game Gears, how you would construct this template then? I mean, because this is the same thing like having temple input props, input props, same thing, because you check the props and you return that, right? So what is the difference between that and this? Temple input props, and you just check stuff. And then you have the problem that you have your error here below the input. You do not always want that, right? Components input render. Yeah, but that's the same thing like saying nothing really changes, right? Because what you're doing, look, listen, so look at that. Let us inspect, and then I'm gonna, so you have this temple input props. So let's say, let me split my screen. Let me open up, or actually split screen is not gonna work here. Let me open up something, I don't know, like a dashboard here. For example, we're gonna have the dashboard, right? Right. So you're gonna do something like components dot as UI. UI inputs, right? UI input props. That's weird. Can I not actually? Wait. No, this is UI. No, this is not what we need. This is not what we need. It's not the UI that I was talking about. It's the components inputs. Yeah. Components inputs, and then you're gonna have components dot input props, right? It's actually the same thing as saying, I can state it like that. It's the same thing like saying components dot input. Yeah, now I need to, let me actually try to write it on one line. Foo is bar render. I mean, just omitting having props everywhere. Yeah, but now you have render everywhere. And you have this here. So I thought this was something... I can see where it's coming from. I can write beautiful code, isn't it? Holy shit. You see what I'll be doing here is we get the buy-side dashboard. Get me the index page data. This is basically index page data. We're going to fill it up with the contracts. We're going to fill it up with total invested, reimbursed. We're going to render the dashboard index and we put in the data. This is all temple stuff. This is temple stuff. This is temple stuff. Well, this is just a struct that we're giving to a temple index data. Right? And then we go from there, right? Yeah, this is compiled a little bit. Let me clean this up. Right? So it's just more OOP way, just a personal taste. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. Yeah, I mean, why not? But my concern, Game Gears, was more of the fact that you're gonna have inputs. You're gonna have inputs like this, right? And if that's a component, your error is going to be here. Invalid user, right? This is your error, your error, right? Whatever, right? Error. So if you code a component, that is going to basically encapsulate these two things, the error and the input. The problem is that it could be that you have an inline form. That's our problem. That's why I basically stopped using components and used this attribute spread function. You want to have this, but the problem is that if this is too small, right? But the problem with that is we had these amounts, like amounts that you need to fill in. So it's going to be an error here and an error here because, you know, because that's what the component's telling you. So that's why we decoupled we decoupled we stopped using components, but we decoupled the error message from the input. So we could say, hey, this is the inline form, but now we're gonna move these errors something like here, you know? That's what we did. Because otherwise, your components end up way too complex. Like the input component is becoming a monster. Why? Hey, if it's inline, the error message needs to be there. If it's not inline, well, the error message needs to be there. If it's disabled this, if it's that, if it's HTMX, right? What if you need to do an HTMX, whatever? You need to add another attribute. Go back to your component, add this another field to it, and it's just like, ugh. You don't want to hassle with that. Keep your components as clean as possible, and try to where am I? And try to use these things like that, where you're gonna have, okay, now the error is this is the input, and the error is here. Look at that. Here are all the errors. Look at that. It's so beautiful is that, man. You see? So here we render all the errors from the form, which is the validate errors, which is my validate package. That's also in GOTHKIT. This is how we handle forms all over the place. Create a form, give it values, and give it errors. And that's the only thing you need. And now we have our inputs like this, where we decouple it from label. So we can place our labels where we want. We can place our input where we want. And it's still gonna have this border, right? You can see that. This class is going to give this error border if the error has a price. And we are going to render all the errors. So we decouple everything. And we do the same thing with our buttons. Why? Because we might want to have a spinner here. Some buttons have spinners. Some buttons don't. Some buttons have HTMX attributes. Some buttons don't. So I'm speaking from problems I have encountered. Not like I like this the way. No, it's because we have these troubles and that works for us, right? Have you seen the Twig UI framework? Ah, Twig, but isn't that the PHP thing? This one. Are we talking about this one? Not a personal fan of putting all errors at the bottom together, but I see why you do it. But you can it make by a popover instead? Well, detective, the reason why I'm not a fan as well, right? But I mean, like I said, if you have a normal form, then I would basically put all the errors here. Right? In a normal form, I would do that. And then make it an error, and this is basically good or something, right? But like I said, if you have a form where you're gonna have these stuff like, for example, a currency that you need to select, and then, for example, this is going to be an amount or something. Yeah, how are you going to display this? This has an error. Where are you going to set that? It's going to be annoying because this could also be an error, and then you're going to... So that's why we say, okay, for these kinds of forms, let's say you have a couple of them, a couple of these inputs. Oh, man. For these kinds of forms, what we do is we group these two errors and we put them below, right? So what's going to happen is that if this errors and this errors, it's going to be this. You know? Only in this case. Because pop-ups, no pop-ups, you could display the error here, or it just... I think for the user, it's just way... It's the best thing we can come up with. Like, I'm not a UX specialist, but this is kind of in your face, and they're gonna know that there is an error and they need to fix that. Yeah, popovers. Seems uncommon that the user would have a ton of errors though. Well, for passwords, it depends. Like how the validate package works. I will show you later on. I'm way too tired. I'm gonna quit it. But is that you could have. Let me show you if I can. I mean, look at that. So, for example, I really like this validate package. It's so amazing. It could be that your currency, that you have a couple of rules, and each rule will produce its error message that you can override. But if we're gonna show, you can have the option to show all the errors. Like for example, password needs to be one capital letter. Password needs to have a digit. Password needs to have at least 8 characters. So it's going to be 3 errors below, because instead of picking the first one, you let the user know what's wrong with its password, right? So maybe it could generate 5 errors for one field. So the user knows like, oh, I need to use this and that and this. So we can fix it in one batch, because if you just only show one error and he fixes his capital letter and he presses submit, but then it's going to be the digit error. And then it's going to be the special character error. And then it's maybe a password too short error. I mean, this user is going to basically freak out and he's not going to sign up anymore. So if you can just dump 6 errors in his fucking face so he can fix that, it's going to be way better. That's what I think. Yeah, for passwords, that's basically one of the most common use cases. But it could be that you're going to have like a specific use case where 3 validations go wrong on one field and you really want to show that, right? I think being a little bit verbose instead of playing the fashionista for users can benefit the UX. Although it looks like basically, how do you say it? A girl with period, right? All red on your screen. But by the end of the day, the user knows what to do, right? But hey. Phone number, for example, very good example. A phone number, like whatever, could have multiple problems, you know. And that's what this thing really does, right? It returns you a set of errors. It returns you a set of errors which are a map with a slice of errors you're gonna have here. It's pretty cool. And I could not find any library that does it the way I do it, because, for example, we have a strategy schema, which is to create like an automated trading strategy. But the first thing, this is so big that we first show a pop-up where you can just give in the basic parameters, which is this, right? That's the first form. Then when that's completed, he goes to a page where he can basically fine-tune his strategy. So that basically means that I also need to show the basic scheme plus the other input fields. So instead of duplicating, what I'm doing is I'm creating this schema, and then I merge this schema with the new schema, which gives me the complete strategy schema. There is no fucking library on the fucking planet that could do that. It just couldn't. We also have an admin panel, which, you guessed it, we can create strategies for customers. So, the same thing. So, I can share this schema can be shared across your application, which is very important. Well, it's actually not important until it's becoming important. That's the thing, right? It's like nothing is important until it becomes important, and then you're trying to find something that can do it, and most of the time it's always something wrong with it. And then I thought, fuck it, man. I like ZOT in JavaScript. You could do basically anything with that. So I'm gonna try to remake it in Go and call it a day, right? Because we needed that, and now you guys can use it as well. Thank you, Gen1 Brit, for the Prime subscription, man. Thank you very much. Appreciate you. Why don't you put it as open? It's open source. It's all open source, man. But I don't basically make a lot of publicity for it because it's still not 100% complete. And you know what happens? People are gonna try to use it, and then it's gonna be some ravages, and then they're gonna say fuck it. So I want to make it good as well. And first, what's going on with my keyboard? It's like, it's slipping. This one, right? It's right here. And if you go to Git, wait, you can find the validate package here, right? I have more rules. I have, look at that, what I have here. You have this as well. You have time before, time after, email URL. You can check if it's a time. Password contains special upper digit, min, all this stuff. And the cool thing is you can use that you can use the validate request to directly validate your request and populate your values. That was so important for us. For example, here, these are the strategy create form values. Validate request, put in the request, give it your strict, give it a schema, and if it's okay, you can just re-render your form with the values and the errors. That's why this pattern works so good. This pattern for HTMX works so good because now you swap your form with the errors and the values you already had. It's just like one line. And after you do validate request, all your values are going to be populated and validated. So after this happens, you're 100% sure that your values are completely populated, right? Which makes your handler so much cleaner, in my opinion. Right. All suffering problems I try to solve by building these stuff in production, guys. And now I want to share it with you. And maybe improve upon them, because maybe I cannot know everything, right? Maybe somebody else has a good idea we can implement. Who knows? Very PHP-like. Yeah, because that's what we need, guys. That's what we fucking need. And this is basically what we use at Lavenue, which is not really using the frame. It has the same concepts, but the frame is even, the GOTHKIT is even way more clean. Hey. Because it basically does this, right? You could do, with the kit, you could say, for example, view out CTX. You can actually do something, check. You could do something like this in GOTHKIT, right? You could say if view out check. You could render something if the user is logged in. You could do it like this. But you need to import it, right? You can do all that stuff. That's just all the utilities it brings, right? You could also take the, for example, I think it's URL, which gives you the current URL. You can also do something like asset, which basically going to give you the path to your asset, for example, styles.css or an image or something. It's going to take you to your path inside of the project. All these helpers, man, for you. Guys, I'm gonna peace out. I'm gonna check if my kid's still alive. Borrowing styles from other languages always sounds bad, so what Go style even mean in programming? This is very Go. If you check this, it's all very, very, very Go-like, right? There is no such thing. There are no styles being copied. There are ideas being copied, not a style. Everything is the Golang style, right? Handlers, context. It's just. Listen, if you want to get somewhere in life, you need to copy success. That's very important. Copy success. Copy success and make it your own. That's best, because if you think you're gonna do it your own way, like a donkey, you're gonna stay nobody, and you're gonna stay mediocre. But if you open up your mind and look for things that really work well, other people doing very well. Maybe you hate them, it doesn't really matter. They do well, you hate them. That's why you still suck, because you hate them and you don't want to listen to them because you hate them. Open your mind and try to see where success is, how they do it, and try to do the same thing, but give it a little bit of your twist, of your own personal swoon. That's a very important thing. And I was just like you, very, very stubborn. And I'm gonna do it my way or the highway because I'm smart and I'm this and I'm that. But I went completely broke, right? Completely bankrupt because I thought I was young and I was the man. But I clearly wasn't the man. And then I started to copy success and just instantly copied everybody else. And everything went well, right? That's the thing. Isn't this the idea of making the Laravel for Go? Well, the Laravel for Go. Golang just needs to have something where people coming from other languages and they want to build something that they can just boot something up where they are getting guided and directed, and they're going to have all these utilities and all and authentication and whatever they want. So they don't need to basically listen to the whole fucking soy devs on Reddit that they say, hey, use the standard library. And then they're going to try to use the standard library. And then they're going to basically are completely lost because it took them 1 week to write a little bit of boilerplate code. And then they're going back to Ruby on Rails, or they're going back to PHP, Laravel, or they're going back to Django or Next.js. And they're going to say that Golang is way too verbose and that the error handling sucks. So if you love Golang and you want that your language is become more and more popular, you need to open up your eyes. You need to be a little bit less. It's the Go standard library way or the highway. You need to be a little bit of less and be a little bit more of a businessman and open up the spectrum of people that want to build stuff very fast without trying to find ways to do them with themselves. So let us, the people that are being here in the Golang community for a very long time, let us provide them the tools they need so they don't ask all these questions. Where do I need to place this? How do I need to do that? What DB do I need to use? What do I need to use? Because by the end of the day, it's all the same thing. That's what we need to do. So we can bring more people to the language, and the majority of the people are sitting in web dev. That's the majority of the people are the Timmies. The Timmies that really need this guidance. If you don't do this, Golang will stay where it is. And they're always gonna basically dump on us because we have a verbose language. So now it's time for once and for all to take over the fucking web. Because I believe Golang is a language specifically made for this. Because you can basically do this, and you have one file where your whole application is compiled to. Assets, the whole fucking shebang, is in one file, and the only thing you need to do is blow a little bit of wind, and it's deployed on a server. Without any bootstrapping, ecosystem, dependency, hell, whatever, like we see right now in the JavaScript world, where basically you need to open up the whole dumpster of packages before you can actually do something in the hope it does not break. Amen. The Golang Reddit is Reddit is a good stuff for some things, but Golang Reddit, you don't want to be there. But it's normal, right? I mean, why would you go to Reddit and post something? Two people post there. People that actually want to market some stuff because they're actually super good and they want to just market something, right? They want to, hey, this is a project. Hey, fucking losers, look at this. Oh, Heil, I love you. Or basically the complete brain that's asking a question. How do I need to place this thing? You know what I mean? Two people there. So which side are you? Anyway, guys. Thank you very much for being here. Wish you a very good evening. And I'm looking forward to see you at the video. I'm going to give you more explanation how it's going to work. Love you all. If you're interested, consider subscribing to my channel on YouTube or on Twitch, whatever. Check the links in the description. Jarko Toodles, my man. And